afternoon. Welcome to Rainbow Inspirations. This is a monthly segment provided in partnership with AARP and Blue Ridge Pride Generations Plus. And we like to fancy this as a place where we talk to older LGBTQIA adults and share their stories, finding inspiration from their life experience. And as you may know, if you're watching this live or it happens to be June, whenever you're watching it, it is Gay Pride Month. And this month we're going to open with Jackie Lees. As part of our series of chats, we have Jackie's going to be sharing her incredible journey of transitioning from male to female in her 60s and proving that it is never too late to be your true self. Jackie, welcome to Rainbow Inspirations. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to start by just giving you an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself to us.
Okay. I started my transition in my 60s, as Bria said. My background is retired now. I'm a retired process control engineer. In the last almost 30 years of my career, I spent traveling globally. I had global projects, mainly in the Pacific Rim, South America, and of course, US, Canada, Mexico. And got to see a lot of things, seeing a lot of cultures. I got to experience bathrooms where there's no gender and you squat, and things like that. And I kind of wonder what's going on with the bathroom issue today. I think people should spend at least 2 sessions in a bathroom in Asia where everybody is exposed to everybody. It might change minds. But anyway, that's besides the point. So originally born in Pennsylvania. I met my wife in Houston. I moved from Pennsylvania to Arizona to go to college. I went to Arizona State, and I ended up working for an electrical contracting company. And later on, I ended up supervising. I had over 200 men. And I ended up doing a project for a German company that was there. And basically, they were pioneering the propellants and airbags in what we know in the cars today. This is back in the late 80s. And I did a little bit of work for them, and they decided they wanted me to go to work for them. So they actually flew somebody from Germany, where their home office is, over and enticed me, wine and dine. Gave me a first-class ticket to Ramsey, New Jersey, North Jersey, to their U.S. office, interviewed, and so I took a traveling job. And that job really helped me to get through my gender issue, so to speak, to where I am today. When I was there in Arizona, they had an issue in Houston where a chemical plant has had an explosion incident. 30 some people died in it, and they wanted me to help. This company I work for has equipment in there that was destroyed, to rebuild, get them back online. So moved to Houston. In the meantime, my wife was moving to Houston from here, North Carolina. She's native. She has a nice family here, crazy people. I like them. And so we spend our time in Texas up until 2019, right before the pandemic. We retired here to be close to family because we were both mobile. She traveled her fair share globally to Germany and all over the country for her job. And we decided, well, we don't know anybody. So we came here, and I love the mountains. God, it charges your batteries. You feel like a speck in time when you look at the age. It's just
You found the secret, Jack. It's amazing when you look out these windows. And folks, if you don't know, we're located in Western North Carolina. That's where our mountain region for AARP is located. So when we're talking about these mountains, we're talking about the Blue Ridge Mountains, just to let you know.
Wow.
Now, Jackie, you mentioned, I want to unpack a couple of things if I could for folks. You mentioned that you're from Pennsylvania. Is that correct? Did you spend
Yes.
your formative years there?
Yeah, I grew up in Pennsylvania. Somewhere along the line when I was in my younger years there, my parents got themselves ordination and they became ministers. My grandmother was a professional organist. She goes back to the days when the silent movies and the piano players down in the pit playing the piano and in a line with the movie. There was all silence. And she was very good. She was very professional. So she became the organist. Now, this was a non-denominational. They had a gospel tent. How they got it, I don't know. I know they went to Florida, brought it back, Dad and someone else, and started pitching the tent and holding, like Neil Diamond says, the traveling salvation shows, But it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. So now I'm in this atmosphere, and we got caught a few times praying that why am I way I am? Why am I a guy? And so Mom would come over because our bedrooms were side by side. It was a 2-bedroom house, and so she would talk to me in a kind way and said, "Well, is the way it is." So that was the time when, as a child, you take certain things literally when you hear it because you're navigating things. And I heard someone say, "Well, if you wear girl panties, it'll make you a girl." Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
I took that to heart, and I just, and I knew that something was different. My parents never left me play with other girls. Never. My uncle had 2 girls, and they were 5 blocks away. I was forbidden to play with girls. I was outside in the backyard, fairly good sized yard, playing catch with a boy that had long hair. He was an American Indian descent, and of course, he had the long hair. Great guy. We had good friends. Mom hauled me in the house. "I told you not to play with girls." So I don't know where that came from. Maybe they knew something. But anyway, as time went by, I kept pushing the issue. And at one point in time, I wasn't doing what they thought that boys should do. And they just, something snapped. I guess I pushed it too hard and complained too much. And they proceeded to hit me. I remember crawling under the dining room table, and I guess what really did it in is says, "Well, if I was a girl, you wouldn't hit me like that." And I went to school that way the next day. And I remember it was in 3rd grade.
Wow.
My teacher, Mrs. Shank, and she's looking and said, "Well, I got in a fight. I'm highly embarrassed, and so she only lived a few blocks away from where I grew up, and she started keeping more tabs on me. Back then, things were a little taboo, unspoken. As a young child, we didn't know we could hold parents responsible. We didn't have any of that. Mm-hmm. And so got to know her pretty good, and it never happened again. I was caught with, prior to that, to go back, I was caught with clothes. I would do I was fortunate to have a bedroom window where I could climb out at night quietly, and I would look for clothes on the clothesline. So, yeah, I would ride my bicycle up and down the alleys, and I would scope out what's out there, and I gathered a few things. I did take some things back because there were some rather large women there, so I put them back on the lines, but I don't know if it went back on the right lines. I don't know how that worked.
So you knew from a young age, you mentioned you knew that you were different than the other kids, and apparently members of the family sensed that there was a difference about you, and certainly one that was not at the time, and even to some degree, even today, socially acceptable. Did you have anybody in your orbit, in your surrounding, be family, friend, neighbor, that kind of looked out for you? Maybe not approved or understood, but made sure you were under their wing.
I always ran to my grandmother.
Mhm.
She was my comfort in the turmoil I was going through. I never told her that I was different. Maybe mom said something to her because they were close. Maybe, I don't know. We didn't speak about it, but I felt that she may have known something and always had the right words to say. And it's tough to explain. I miss her dearly to this day. Uh, I always seen her with her pearl necklace all the time. I mean, she probably went to bed with it, but she was an elegant, lovely lady. She would teach me the keyboard and things. And when mom couldn't cook, I'd go running up there, and she'd always say, "Well, mom can't cook again, huh? That messed it up." I said, "Yeah, give me a good meal." It was that kind of relationship. They were only 2 blocks away. So she was my comfort. And I had nobody. I have no siblings,
Mm.
no brothers, sisters. It was just me and preacher parents.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I see you're wearing a beautiful pearl necklace today, and I assume that
well,
might be.
this is a replica
Uh-huh.
uh, because the one my wife somehow got it from my mom shortly after we married. How she did that, I'll never know. But bless her. Uh, it's over there in the jewelry box. It's very fragile. So I found something, and I just, it means a lot to me. I mean,
It's beautiful.
I guess we all need something, and this is my,
Sometimes we carry our support right there with us, right? It's
yeah,
what's
like
in our heart.
my comfort and worry beads at the same time.
I love that. I love that. So let's fast forward a little bit. So we have you're kind of on your own to figure this out, is what I'm hearing a little bit
Well,
as a child, and I can only imagine how tormenting and scary that could possibly be for a young person, correct?
oh, let me tell you, there was no information available.
Mm.
Uh, Today, if I had this information, I would have uh, transitioned years ago, and but I'm still searching myself. But here's the thing: uh, it's the church. Uh, I studied along with the Bible teaching presented. I was always there helping set up things, and later on, I became a little more independent. I could travel away from home a little more on my bicycle, and then even later, uh, I got a car when I graduated. So now I'm able to put my attire together, and I could go to the mall. I could go here and there, and you gotta, one thing I need to explain before I go a little further. I never had gratification from doing that, as some people would say, well, you get turned on, and it felt normal. It felt like I was in line with myself, even at that age. So I did my thing, but somewhere along the line, I think somebody in the local congregation may have found out. I never got a confirmation on it, but I suspect it. Mom said something about it. So the next service, we're in a little chapel on airport property, an old Army chapel back in Reading, Pennsylvania. And all of a sudden, here comes the prayer portion of the service. They call for prayer. Mom comes marching back to the third row, and I'm in the corner of the pew just looking down. I'm looking up, and there she is. And she called a couple of people over. She says, "We want to cast this out, whatever this is." I went through the laying of on hands. I can still feel that shaking and the speaking in tongues and the whole thing. And well, that set me off pretty bad. For them, situation's over, problem solved, it's cast out, and end of the movie, all of that. I never brought up anything about it. I was very careful to hide things after that, but it didn't work. And it's just that was major. So now enter the suicide thoughts. You know, you this isn't what I learned in the Bible. You know, it's just I kind of felt for sure something is wrong. So I suppressed it real deep, down deep. And before I moved to Arizona and started college, we had a draft lottery during the end of the Vietnam War. I was drafted in 1971. I was number 2 in the lottery into the Army. I thought, oh my God, this is a blessing. You know, back then it was anti-war, anti-this. People were spitting on you for being in the military when you get out. And well, things obviously change now, but okay, now I'm away from this. I'm macho now. My dad was in the Army in World War II, and I don't know who else in the family. So I served. And now I'm not being myself. It just became deeper and deeper that I'm living a lie. It's like, wait a minute. I always hated to see guys lined up in a bathroom at the stand-ups doing their, taking a leak, so to speak. And it was appalling. I mean, this is dirty, and taking showers together. Oh, no, I mean, nothing like me.
Felt out of place.
Yeah, it was just all out of place. And so I did get injured when I started training to be a medic. I got injured in that point, and I was hoping to stay in. They said, no, Vietnam War is winding down in 72, so this will probably be the last of the drafts, and we're kind of getting overloaded. So if you want to leave, you leave. And so I got an honorable discharge, and so I left.
And did you, so at this point, you haven't come out to anybody. You're still working. This is all internal. You've internalized all of this, but you definitely know without a doubt that we're not having a phase. This isn't a phase. There's something just inherently different.
Exactly.
Okay. So now you move. Is this when you really get into your career at this point?
Yeah, that's when after I came out of the service, I was going to Arizona to resume college. I started in Penn State actually, and then the Army interrupted, and I finished up in Arizona. Only because, here's another story in itself. Mom and Dad divorced. So that was the end of their Wings of Hope ministry. And so she, and about a year later, remarried to a soloist that used to be with a very large evangelistic association in Pittsburgh. And she fell head over heels over this handsome gentleman. And, I liked the guy. So they decided, well, we're done on the East Coast. They shut down, when they divorced, all the radio station work went away because they were all over the East Coast on chain stations, 15-minute radio broadcasts every Sunday. So they said, okay, let's go to Arizona and start out new. Now, Mom was really missing her ministry preaching. Bob was a soloist, very good one, I might add. And my grandmother is sitting there playing the organ at home, and people love her playing. So I helped them start a new organization. It was called Global Evangelistic Association. I helped put it together and got them all the tax things. And so now they're off and running. But now instead of the tent, it was meeting rooms in hotels and what have you, everywhere, any place that they would go, they would move around the city to get exposure. And they eventually went back on the radio with 15-minute broadcasts. So I went to college and got out while they're doing this, and I went to work for that electrical contractor I told you earlier about. Then that's when I hooked up with this German company. So now I'm traveling the globe, and I said, damn, I never thought I'd have something this good. I was able to suppress my feelings by, of course, when you're doing that kind of work, you're in a hotel. Weekends, evenings. Hey, I'm on my own now. I can get my things back together and have my life after work. And I had a laptop computer the company gave me, but it was blocked. You can't do anything. You're restricted. And the hotel internet, they blocked certain websites. And of course, I didn't want to leave a trail on my company computer that I was trying to research this. And I felt great. Anyway, I felt complete. I could go out of my hotel room. I could walk around the parking lot. And
you could be you, correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
It was total bliss. Just amazing. I can't explain it. Amazing. So that went on. And one day I got the first iPad. Okay, I'm on my own. I'm in there. I'm searching and I'm looking and I'm finding things. And because I could never get therapy. That was out of the question. I mean, when you're on the road 80% of the time every year, there's no one to talk to. So it was all on my own.
So you're finding people now. You have the opportunity to find people out in the world like you that are experiencing this and the education surrounding it, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
which I'm sure in some ways kind of was it still limited at that time, the amount of education compared to what like generations may have now? Was it still a little limited?
Oh my gosh, it was next to nothing. Number one, I didn't know what to call it or what it was. If you look up something, it says, well, you dressing up like a girl. Okay, now where does that lead to? I forget what that word is that they used to use. It's not cross-dressing or something else like that. But anyway, it was always put it in a little perverted context. And you're weird, no one else knew what's going on, but there were people, long before Stonewall, back in the 30s, there were that had sexual problems, and I'm learning about these people. I'm getting to see, well, wait a minute, I'm not weird. This is what's wrong.
You're or no longer alone, right? Which is one of the reasons we do these segments, Jackie, because we want folks to know that, there are other folks out there like them and that have these challenges. And I want to take the opportunity to, you said something when we were emailing and we were talking about emails, and it's really stuck with me. And you said you are from, and I'm reading it because I don't want to get it wrong, that you were from the It's Never Too Late group, right?
Well, yeah.
So what does that mean to you exactly?
Well, it wasn't like you noted. It wasn't until my 60s. Uh, my job was secure prior to that. I didn't want to jeopardize it. I couldn't, and so I waited. I still, but here comes retirement. Now I didn't have that evening outlet in a hotel. I didn't have this or that, and I retired in 2017, and I started to let myself go because now I'm just withdrawn. It's like it's a shock. I can't make myself feel better. So I kind of let myself go. My wife noticed I was being withdrawn to some point. I don't know what her explanation or how she would explain it. And I decided that, well, I'd let myself go to the point I even had a heart attack. It's that powerful.
Yeah.
You know, this is something you can't suppress. You can't will it away. It's just going to do a lot of harm to your mental health. And so be true to yourself. And I decided, okay, I didn't handle it very good. Came out to my wife, and boy, did I blow that big time. We went through very emotional roller coaster. And in the end, it worked out good. For some reason, I feel like I love her more than ever. She is an advocate. She will go on social media. She'll let everybody know what she thinks of all this stuff going on out there in the world. And she has thousands of followers, and bless her heart. I never liked going to shop for clothes for me in the men's section. I put it off. It's, let's go across the aisle. Well, when it comes to her, man, I'm on it. I mean, she is a beautiful lady, and she wears things well, and I was just excited to see her. You know,
and it's so good to know that she has supported you in your journey. That's so important, to have that kind of support by the people around us somewhere in our orbit, be our family or friends or just folks that come into our lives, So I'm glad she's there. This has been probably the quickest 30-minute Rainbow Inspirations interview we have done. But
we may need to do
a part two, right?
Yeah. I mean, we can dig into it more. This is just scraping the mountaintops here. And
well, I want to give you, we have about a minute left, and I want to give you an opportunity to just, if there's any advice you want to give to folks, anything. I do want to say one other thing, though. You mentioned that in our emails that you are not a hero. You don't see yourself as inspiring like other folks, but I want you to know that you're absolutely inspiring, Jackie. Making these changes and being yourself and your true self and having the courage to do that. And not only that, but to be open and put yourself out here in front of theoretically the world is truly heroic in my eyes. And I really want to share that with you. But I'm taking your time. Please take a minute. Tell the people anything you'd like.
Well, as you know, I attended my first committee or whatever you call it, meeting with BRP. That's where we met in person, Blue Ridge Pride. And I have to get used to them, and they have to get used to me. But it seems like an organization and the group with AARP and the others involved. I like what they're doing. I think they are being very good at trying to advance social change for the people they serve. I think other organizations are bringing justice to people that are facing violence, poverty, and discrimination, just so we can live our fullest life. And for me, the reason why I'm doing this, I want to be a good trans representative. Maybe I can change minds. Maybe I can talk to those that'll listen. Maybe someone will learn. maybe it'll do some good to somebody. But I think it's really doing good for me to talk about it as well.
Well, thank you, Jackie. I appreciate you taking the time, and I know it's made a difference for me, and I'm sure the folks that are going to be out there listening to this, but you've definitely made an impact on me, and it's been great to get to know you. I appreciate your time today, and I look forward to seeing you in person in the near future. Thank
Okay, if you
you.
want to do a part two, just you know where to find me.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your openness. We appreciate it.
Thank you so